I'm Natha, and I'm going to read something that I wrote in 2014 before I talk about it. At that point, I was very disgusted with the university. I felt that it was some kind of a place which had no integrity, which had no strength, to face up, to own up to what's happening, and at the same time it had this pride. We have this pride that we're intellectual somehow, but then we protect everything that is wrong also. We don't question what's happening. So I wrote this in 2014. We've beat it dry of its wonderful potential. We've made it the sacrosanctum of illusions, this space where the Johns and Marys and Rajus and Deepas are molded and sculpted into puppets, spouting academic jargon, lacking in our strength to question, defy, reconstruct, turned it into the sacrosanctum of Brahmanism, protected from the non-intellectuals, giving into the awaiting drowning sense of superiority and entitlement, so only the selected can access and repeat our tragic failure, schizophrenic illusions of grandeur, or the gradual death of radical thought. We guard it with outward security, afraid of the outside, non-intellectual world, while on the inside we rot. We rot from the feeling of superiority, of entitlement, of licking asses for lack of principles. As you can see, it was a very, very angry poem. But maybe things are changing, and maybe I can revisit this poem and say, okay, maybe I can have some hope now. I entered the Center for Neural and Cognitive Science in 2011 with hopes of researching on languages and how they represent space, how do we talk about space and language. And apparently I found out later that the committee thought that the proposal was good, but the person I joined under told me that this was not a possible thing, and I was naive at that point, so I said, okay, whatever you want. And eventually I was handed one pet project after another, which were not completed by previous PhD students. And 3 years into working, my ex-supervisor, thankfully now, decided that he was going to have cancer and come and stay with me. And so when your supervisor tells you he has cancer and he's going to die, I mean, the reaction is, oh my God, what am I going to do, and I'm really sorry. So then he says, I need someone to take care of you. So I was like, okay, I'm going to come and live in your flat. So, okay. But eventually I realized that this was really wrong. So, and then I found out, of course, that he didn't have cancer. And I filed there was a point when it got really bad. I filed a complaint in GS Cash. And so that's one part of the thing, right? Of the struggle. When something wrong happens to you and you say, no, I don't want this to happen to me. I'm making a stand. I'm saying no. And I'm going to complain against you and hope that the institutions put in place to take care of this do something about it. But then I think the disappointment for a lot of us in this campus and in other campuses across the world, for women, Dalits, members of any oppressed group, is that these committees and people who are supposed to stand up and look at what's happening can't do that, or they don't do that. I don't know which one. They decide that they don't have the strength. Sorry, we're afraid of this. Like, who are these people? Who's this professor? And who are these committee members, proctor board members? Are these some kind of mafia that we're so afraid of them? And so I was very, very angry, so I wrote this poem. I mean, why do we have to protect our library from people in the outside? Why do people have to show why do we have our security guards like that? I don't understand it. Who are we protecting? Are we protecting ourselves from the outside? Or what do we do? Or are we protecting these scary persons inside the university instead? So this guy, my ex, so I went to GS Cash, and GS Cash recommended a change of supervisors. And then the VC at that point, Ramaswamy, who to some extent, I don't know what to think of him, but one thing I know about him is he's spineless. So he revoked GS Cash's recommendation and made this guy my supervisor again, knowing very well that this guy was filing an academic misconduct thing against me. And this is what they do. Every time you say, I don't want this to happen to me because I'm not going to let it, then they'll say, you're bad scholars. It doesn't matter, you know, like, and my work is important to me. And it doesn't matter to them that, you know, you're trying to grow, you're trying to learn, you're trying to do something. But they don't get their way. If they don't get their way, they're just going to say you're a bad scholar. It's ridiculous. So then after this, I still don't have the final report of the GS Cash thing. I know they closed it, and I fear they dismissed it. I don't know what's happening. I don't want to know, because I went through a period of depression which was very scary. And I finally got out of it. And I had a couple of people who were with me throughout. Prashant, Bipin, Bittu, and a lot of my friends, Shalini, I can't name all of them, who helped me get out. So now I'm just doing my PhD. I'm going to complete it. I have a new supervisor. I have 2 supervisors who are nice, and I'm trying to finish it, yeah. But it's incredible the way the university does this. It's incredible how little lives mean to them. You know, it doesn't matter to them. And the sense of entitlement that these people up there have is, I didn't even understand it, I think, until I faced it. You know, I didn't understand that they couldn't even see what they were doing. So this guy who did this to me said, yeah, I did all of this, but I don't see how it's harassment. So all these guys also think that, yeah, I did all of this, but I was right. It's so, like the previous speaker said, it's, you know, we're invisible. What they're doing is not even a problem to most of them. And that's what we're up against, to mark this unmarked these unmarked identities and struggles that we have. But I have a lot of hope, so I'm not going to revisit that poem with the feeling that I wrote it. And I wrote another one which is too long, so I won't read it, but I feel that what I've been through is going to be a part of me. It's changed me so much. But at the same time, I don't have to fear it anymore. And I know that these struggles, including depression, which follows a lot of these traumas, that they're a part of me. But I know that they also pass they're hovering over here, but I can fight them and they pass. And I hope we can fight these things. At some point, maybe not have Women's Day anymore, except as a reminder. Thank you.